Hey there guys, my name's Alex, and welcome to Headspace Hobbies. In this video, we're getting bloodthirsty. The Khorne Berzerkers have finally received new models after 23 years. The original plastic kit was released in 1999, and it was one of the first kits that I received when I was about 8 years old, first getting into the hobby. Now, being that age, my building skills weren't the best, and I never really got around to fixing them up.
New kits were getting bought or gifted, and to be honest, they kind of fell to the wayside.
Well, as the kit has officially been retired in lieu of their replacements, I thought it'd be fitting to finally get them up to scratch and giving them a lick of paint. So let's get cozy, grab our brushes, get a brew on the go, and let's get started.
Mould lines and screw tabs were the first thing that needed sorting. I'd base coated some of the squad a while ago in a half-hearted attempt to get started on them, but completely missed the imperfections on the models themselves. A quick once over with my knife and they were looking a bit smoother. Next up was redoing the base coat. I used Mephiston Red to fill in any gaps and give another layer to the models. After that, I worked on blocking in the main colours. Black for the weapons, gloves, armour joints, and various panels and pieces that would be added to later on. Next came the gold, and oh boy is there a lot on these guys. Chaos Marines really like their fancy armour trim, and it's always a bit tricky on the older models where the moulding is a bit softer and less defined. I also did the bolt rounds on the bandoliers and the various cornate symbols around the armour. I did the other metallics afterwards, dry brushing the weapons and picking out the piping and vents on the power packs and other little details. Okay, and it's a few days later. I've been working on a couple of other side projects. If you head over to the Instagram and Twitter page, you'll be able to see a couple of exciting things I've managed to get finished. But next, I have done some pretty simple bases. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, done some pretty simple bases on the Khorne Berzerkers. Just some PVA glue, modelling sand, some little bits of slates, and some little tiny pieces of cork. Just scatter those on the bases, and pretty simple. What I'll do now is get those based up with probably, what is it? My painting desk is never organised. Some Talon sand, and then we'll tidy up some of the other base layers, and then we'll get to an ink wash. So let's get started. After grabbing some fresh water, the only other layer was brown for the bandoliers and sword scabbards. The next step was some washes. Good old Milne oil. It was bound to happen at some point. For the metal parts, and Vallejo Umber Wash for the armour panels and leather parts. Agrax Earth Shade would have worked just as well here. Evil Sun Scarlet was the first layer to brighten up and tidy the armour panels, making him nice and vibrant but leaving some darker shades and grime in the recesses. Polished gold brought some shine to the trim, but I didn't overdo it, as I'm quite fond of the darker, almost brass-like colour. I also went back with some basic edge highlights on the weapons. I tried my hand with some wet blending using Wild Rider Red on some of the top panels that would reflect the light. It's my first time really doing this, but I think I did a nice job. After that, a few edge and line highlights were added to the higher panels with Troll Slayer Orange. Then came the eyes, a base of Castellan Green followed by a thin layer of Vallejo Goblin Green and dots with white in the corners. All that was left was some finishing touches. transfers, scratches and battle damage. The bases were finished with a wash and some layers of dry brushing. And I always like to get some on the boots and legs to emulate some dust. Okay, and we're about done. Now, the last step in any of my projects is always the rim of the base. Just a nice way of finalising the project and saying, that's it, we're done. And I'll be using Vallejo's Goblin Green for this, to give it that nice retro look. One important thing is that I know my skill level, and I'm comfortable with that. I'm always trying to improve and learn techniques, but it's healthy to accept when you think that there's nothing more you can add at your current abilities. Besides, you can always come back later on to tidy things up if you feel comfortable to. So, here they are. What do you think? I'm quite pleased with them, personally. I really wanted to tap into that retro 2nd and 3rd edition feel, with the bright, vibrant colours, but also tapped into some of the more grimdark of the recent editions, with those grimy recesses and darker colours. Now, of course, I could always do better. That's the whole point. We've always got to try and improve, learn new skills and techniques, try our hardest. Right now, I'd say I'm pretty happy with them, and I think that's what's most important. So with that, we're done for another video. Thank you very much for watching. Your support is always appreciated. As always, also down in the description, there will be some links to helpful websites and numbers if you ever do feel like you are struggling. Please don't feel like you can't reach out to someone. There's always someone out there to support and listen. And with that, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye for now.